Garrett Blevins here with the last day of the first week of my peaking cycle and the first day of the second week. The last day of the first week is kind of uneventful. It's really 6 singles with bench press, and it's just form work. I think this is about 82% maybe, or 80%, something like that. I was happy with most of the speed, or the speed on most of these reps. I was a little beat up from the week, and so they were a little slower than I would have liked, but it did help me dial in my form a little bit. Wasn't doing too long of a pause or anything like that to make it hard on myself. It was just a day to get in there and get this done. This was after a long day where I'd actually been on my feet for about 8 hours, and so I was pretty happy that I didn't have any squatting or deadlifting. It worked out pretty well, and my shoulders weren't fatigued from standing, obviously, and so these moved pretty well. It was a pretty uneventful day. It's of note that on these days where you're doing speed bench or form bench or whatever you want to call it, that you're not really training to get yourself stronger. You're just practicing your skill, and that's important to do if you are lifting competitively in powerlifting. You got to practice your sport. So this is the next week. This is the first day, and threw a couple of my warm-ups in here. Also, you'll see some editing gains here in a minute where I figured out how to do picture-in-picture. So that was helpful on some of these squats to see kind of a different angle and get an idea of depth. Really happy with my depth at this point. Feeling pretty good about my squat form. So the first double that I did was with 635. My coach has given me a little bit of leeway where I could go up about 3% if this felt easy, and it did feel easy. My bar path is not perfectly straight. It definitely bows forward a little bit, and I may need to work on actually, I think, externally rotating to deal with that issue. In any case, still moved pretty well for 635, a lot better than I was expecting on this day, and I jumped up to 655. This is because I messed up my math. I should have jumped up to 645, but in any case, these also moved pretty well. You'll see a little bit of straining here on this rep, but not too much. That moved a lot better than the last time I did 655 for a double, and I was deeper on that set than I was before, so definitely feeling making some improvements. You'll see that on my bench warm-up, that 385 I think was a little bit faster than the previous weeks. Jumped up to 425 for a single, and it moved really well. And then I had my doubles on benches. And so squats on this day I did 2 sets of 2, and then I was followed up with 4 sets of 2 on bench press. 455 moved really well, was happy with that, so moved up just 5 pounds to 460. And these also moved very well. With a pause as well. I'm feeling pretty good about bench press, and I decided to keep the bench the same for all of my working sets. I didn't do any touch and go. If this was earlier in a training cycle, I would have thrown in some touch and go, maybe gone for 475 for 2, but so close to competition, a touch and go PR is really pointless. That's not what I'm working on right now. I need to get ready to compete, so I had to practice some restraint. Bench was feeling good. This is probably the strongest I've ever benched in a session. Never done 4 doubles with this kind of weight, and so definitely in some PR territory. That said, it was a good 2 days. I'm interested to see what deadlift will do in the next couple of days and see if I can pull some decent numbers. That said, I returned to this quote, and this quote really has been in a lot of these videos. I used to switch it up a lot, but I've been really harping on this passage from Galatians to not grow weary in doing good, and at the right time you will reap a harvest if you do not give up. I really honestly can't think of a better spiritual lesson that I have learned from powerlifting than this. That you have to invest, that you have to put in effort, and you're not going to see results immediately, especially the more advanced you get in powerlifting. You're not going to see the results quickly, and that's true in life as well. You can invest for a long time and not see any reward on your investment, but that doesn't mean that you're doing the wrong thing or that you need to change tactics. If you're doing good, if you're doing the right things, if you're playing by the rules, and you're putting in a lot of effort, then eventually you're going to come out on top. Life will beat you down, and you'll have runs of bad luck, and life is not fair. But if you keep putting in good effort, if you keep investing, things are going to go well for you at some point. It's going to turn around. And I'm hoping that's what will happen after all this training. I'm feeling good on squat and bench, a little questionable on deadlift, but I'm looking forward to see what I've done with all this work. And I appreciate all the support from all of you out there. Wherever you're at, I hope you're doing well. Blessings.